work. Let's try to help people usher in the kingdom of heaven más rápido. For all you Spanish illiterate people, that means very quickly or rapidly, okay? With quickness. You know, like Michael Cooper, with the quickness. Well, no, old school R&B people out there. Okay, and I'll do it. Can function? No? Gosh, you're old. Shut up. Okay, so I connected to these kids in prayer last night. I was sitting there soaking. I was listening to the news, and I forgot I changed it to the news that I'm most familiar with, which is the ABC newscast. You know, the ones that people are boycotting because of Kimmel and because of politics. And they're saying, please, support our advertisers, or otherwise we can't pay our bills. Because no one in El Paso wants to the Lord's Prayer because the military is vicious. Yeah, we know. And they're cocky. Oh, yeah, they're going to win. Parsons will never win. They can run him over in the parking lot. But, pride will do. Pride will do. We'll just put militia in the center, right? And so, you get these people, and well, I know people in the military don't. People try to talk to him and they die. People try to talk to me and they die. Hear that, Jesus? Well, life is eternal and grace is infinite, and it's a life of sacrifice. So yeah, you talk to Jesus, you die. If you don't talk to Jesus, you want to clone yourself or put your brain on a robot. You want to join the people in the military that want to be immortal. Wow, what a bunch of perverts. I know. Yeah, they do horrible things, especially with sexuality with young people, to make people, go back to the caveman days. And it's like, we're not there. And the big thing is with Adam and Eve, life's eternal and grace is infinite. Once you understand that, once you have that basic understanding that life is eternal and grace is infinite, you don't get into that, okay, we're out here in the woods and we might die off and I got to get the 13-year-old daughter pregnant because they killed the wife, right? You don't think like that. You think life's eternal, grace is infinite. Somewhere, there's a place for us, a time and a place for us, right? So you get very Blaise Pascal. People don't understand his writings. They weren't complete. They put out what the Vatican wanted out, not what Pascal really wrote. He was much more romantic in real life than he was in verse that was given to us by the corporation that killed him. Kind of like, a lot like Jesus, yes, and Muhammad and others. They're a lot more romantic and a lot more beautiful and a lot more, oh my gosh, I love him. He's as good as Ella Fitzgerald songs, right? Everybody in their right mind loves Ella Fitzgerald, right? So you be sitting there and, but I'm sitting there and I get these kids in the tub from the news contest because I'm listening and go, wait, that's Tyann Mushburn. I know her. People like her. That's the whole thing with the news. You got to get the kids from school that are people that like people and people like them. Only it's hard because when you do the news, you go and you meet those real creepy people sometimes, and it's like, don't. You get all the guys and they sit there and don't make eye contact. Adrian it's okay. We'll just get behind the drum line and everybody just move real slowly. Don't make eye contact. But those are assassins for the military. Let's go. Come on, what are you doing? We're going to a restaurant and we're going to play the drums. Let's get out of here. Okay, Adrian, I'm behind you. Professional wrestling. Yeah. Remember when Captain Insano was really mean to Bobby? That was horrible. Yeah, Waterboy. But I'm sitting there in the tub and I'm listening. Okay, it's my familiar kids. And then I get the Martinez girl, from ASU. The badass Mexican girl that's really sweet and a people person, but don't piss her off. She reminds me so much of all the. She's so cute. I love B. She's so cute, right? And so she's sitting there and she's telling me, there's also Lauren Bly and Jerry Nara that they do the cast with. They're a group. They're a team. They like each other. She was like, yeah, I like them too. She was because here's the thing. Okay, I got the same thing with James K. Lloyd on Facebook with his buddies with Pieces of a Dream. It's like, this is James K. Lloyd. Yeah, but the rest of the group, I understand that. But go listen to Makes You Wanna and Round Midnight. Go listen to James play the keyboard. I mean, the rest of the band is wonderful. You need a whole ensemble. It's like with Miles Davis. If you don't have Paul Chambers on the piano Paul Chambers on the bass, and Win Kelly on the piano. It's like, what's going on here? And John Coltrane on the side. What's going on here? What's wrong with the Miles Davis quartet here? Okay. No, they're wonderful musicians, right? But I'm sitting there I'm explaining to Martinez, Mrs. Grumpy over there, oh, I got a team. What about my team members? I'm sitting there going, I watch the weather. I don't like to listen to the news. The propaganda makes me grumpy or sad or pissed or, you know what I mean? So I don't want to hear all that stuff. But I was in the tub, so I hear all that stuff. And it's not my fault that Lauren and Jerry have to do the propaganda section like Marcel and Paul. And then, and I don't get mad at Marcel and Paul. I like Marcel and Paul. I bet you Marcel's a military brat. Paul might be a military brat. His dad might have been at Davis Monthan. You never know. That's why he's comfortable here. Okay, just don't make eye contact. Everybody get behind the drum line. Okay. Or we could all hide behind Nick Cannon's kids. There you go. Okay. So, but I'm connecting to his kids, and they got wonderful personalities. And I like Lauren. It's like, Lauren, you're one of us. I thought you were an El Paso girl. You look like one of us. What do you mean you're from away? You can't be from back east. Are you indigenous? Are you native to this continent before the Europeans came and took over? Because you have that vibe. You're like one of us. We're an Indian reservation and you're an Indian, right? There's nothing. I was sitting there listening to him on TV last night, and I quoted Smoke Signals. The only thing more pathetic than Indians on TV is Indians watching Indians on TV, right? I'm getting these kids, and they have these really good personalities. And Jerry's a sweetheart. He cares about people's feelings, and he doesn't like people being offended or abused. Adrian's a lot like that, too. Yeah, so they get a lot of these kids, they're very protective of people. Because, a lot of them knew what it was like to be bullied. And so they're very protective of bullying and stuff. So that makes it real good for them to do their job and get out and do the reporting. Okay. And so they're very passionate about making sure people are treated fairly. Which I get Martinez in my head. What about Lauren, Brian, Jerry? Nada? Well, you tell me, girl. I don't watch that part, but I'm sitting there so fun. This time, like I used to do when I worked in lockup units with the kids, I would sit and I'd get the roster, and I'd look at the roster, and I'd watch the kids, and I'd look like I used to do in basketball games when I was a kid. And I'd go, okay, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. So I'd keep reading and doing the face with the thing, so that way when I knew, it's okay, you're Paul Johnson. Okay, nice to meet you. You're from Wyoming. Okay, so most of the rest of these kids are from Michigan or California. Right? Well, because we get more money from Michigan and California than we do from Wyoming, so you need to, be more of a handful, so state of Wyoming can get their money worth, right? I'm just joking around, but you know what I mean? But that's the type of person I am, right? So I'm getting there and getting these kids, right? And so, and I'm talking to them, and I'm like, if you guys don't know who Pieces of a Dream is, and you don't know any jazz, and you don't know Wynton Marsalis or Branford or what, just get with Jalen, okay? No, he looks like he's hip. He looks like he's hip. He probably even knows Tower of Power and Lenny Williams and Steve, You're Still a Young Man, which most of you should know too, because Tower of Power, I mean, that's like a El Paso standard before, they started brain poo-pooing us. It's not brainwashing. Brainwashing is after you've been propaganda, ooh, money for sex, kill money for sex. And then you wash the brain and go, Lord's Prayer. Yeah, like Lauren, she's sweet. It's like, no. Lord's Prayer first, right? See, guys, when you understand life's eternal and grace is infinite, and then you have the Lord's, life's eternal, grace is infinite, forgive debt and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace, then you wash your slate clean. And then you have everything clean for people to live in a clean environment and be treated with the dignity and respect they deserve. And it practically takes bullying down to nil. Now, we can't do anything about what your dad or your mom do to you in your house once they sexually reproduce, okay? But if you sit there and look around and go, everybody else's dad isn't trying to have sex with them. Everybody else's mom doesn't call them stupid, fat, or ugly. Okay. I'm thinking foster care tomorrow, Yahweh. Okay, right next to the Holocaust Museum that's going to get torn down by the new freeway. Okay, Earl. You don't need more roads. What you need roads to open up in here. Like on the old Hobbit cartoon. Roads go ever, ever on. Anybody else like Green Library? I'm an old man. I'm an old freaking man. Thank you, Paul. Paul Cicala. Yeah, my dad used to listen to him. I believe you. But So, but no, I like Paul and Marcel. Yeah, I like him. Stephanie was really cool. I thought that was a brilliant maneuver to spend more time with her kids and, you know, and just get out and just, be a mom and be a wife and just, try to enjoy life because she'd seen so many horrible things doing the news, and the investigative reporting she had to do and look up and stuff. So I was like with Stephanie Valle, I was like, you go, girl. You go. Yeah, no, I liked her. I like her. I didn't like her. I liked her. Okay. But, I was sitting there because they were doing all the Charlie Clark stuff. Does anybody know what nationality Fosbane is? I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Fonsbane. Is it Fonsbane? I think it's Fonsbane. Okay. Well, they showed me a little thing that says the Miss Arizona thing in 2012. I was like, what? The who? I don't think she had been named Kirk at that time. So I went and watched it, and it says, no, the winner was Erica Fonsbane. Oh, so her name is Fonsbane. That's her parents' name, like Siakam Pascal, Fa Mulan. So it was interesting, but I had these kids in my head last night, and I did this morning, and there was a lot of things I had to talk about as far as, abuse from people with very small minds. The more you think you know, the more confined you are to your mind, and the more insidious and vicious and selfish and narcissistic you get. The more humble you are, and the more you're like, I did not know that. Really? Wow. Okay, cool. And you just let it go, and you don't, and like when my mom was dying from being poisoned to death in Phoenix, and was dying from her medical care too. They killed her for treatment because they didn't want to pay for her because they lost a medical malpractice lawsuit to a crappy doctor that judged her because of the conditions of her cancer. And it was horrible. Watching it you couldn't do anything about it. You're not a corporation. And you couldn't do anything about it. People are still being murdered by industrialization and then either taught to, given to a corporation to get them to assimilate to the industrial toxins or die. And it's still happening to this day. And they have videos that had the Paul Bragg Memorial Library. I brought home and watched it. And a little lady who was a doctor studied cancer and went to Congress with all these results and still, I get it. Don't be scared. Don't be scary. They're not an ABC affiliate. They're just a bunch of people trying to do their job in El Paso, one of the scariest places on earth. But right next to Las Cruces, the scariest place on earth. No, Fort Huachuca is the scariest place on earth? No. Fort Huachuca does whatever this place does, or they'll blow Pachuca off the map and reload. Get the fuck out of here. This is where they threaten to kill everybody and kill their own people with nuclear weapons before they go threaten to blow everybody up with nuclear weapons if they can't fuck you in the head with money before you die. That's why, yeah. It's in the Bible and the Quran. And also, it's common sense, asshole. I like these kids. But they're fun. You guys are fun. Oh my gosh, you're so fun. It's fun talking to you. Don't worry about when you talk to me. I can protect people with technology from people that will attack them with technology, okay? But I can't protect you from themselves. When they give you bad dreams and stuff, wake up in the morning, life's eternal grace is Lord's Prayer, Lord's Prayer, Lord's Prayer, Odele, okay. All day, every day, all the way, okay. Life's eternal grace is infinite. Forgive debt, trespass, love, one, eternal, faithful peace. Orale! Orale! Better than Charlie Clark Nissan. Yeah, unless he stands up today. He's probably scared. Most people in El Paso are. They're almost as scared as the people of Las Cruces. What about the people at Fort Huachuca? I always thought they were in charge. Wow. See how cocky those people are at military units that, kill people for brain chemical addiction and call it living? Okay, all right, peace.